I will discuss how to use async validator in our reactive form in our Angular application. The need of using async validator is that suppose this is the username field, and if I am entering username field and if the username is already available, so it should give the message to the user. Suppose this user is already exists, so the user should get this message that username already exists. In the same way, suppose I have a mobile number and I'm entering the mobile number, and if that mobile number is already existed in our database, so this message should be displayed to the user that mobile number already exists. So this type of error handling is done by async validation. So let's see how to implement async validation in our reactive form. I have created my application already. Look at here. We should know about the async validator Fn. Using this, we create the async validator. So what we have to do that, create a function. This is a function I have created, existing username validator. This is a function, and this function will return async validator Fn. And this async validator Fn is basically, it returns the promise of validation errors are null, or it will return the observable of validation errors are null. So here I am returning username exists. This is the key. I will use this username exist key when user is already existing. So in our HTML template, we can check it like this: username.errors username exists, and if it returns true, then we can display our error message. So let's see the completely how do we implement it. So first of all, we have to create a function. Suppose the function name is existing username validator, and then this function will return async validator Fn, and the async validator Fn is implemented like this. You have to return either a promise or observable that will return either validation errors or null. This is validation errors. You have to create a key and value. Here the key is username exists and value is true, and if there is no error, I am returning null. So let's see how I am doing this. I have created a function service, and inside this service I get the username entered by the user. When the user enters here, I get this data here, and for the demo purpose, what I am doing that I have created an array. It has two users, this one and this one, and in this array I check whether the username entered by the user exists or not. If it exists, then that username is returned, otherwise an empty array I am returning it. Okay, you can also return boolean whether that username exists or not, it's up to you. So I am returning the empty array if the username does not exist, and if the username is already existing, so I will return the array with that username. Now this is the customer service, and the method name is username exists. So what I am doing here, that service.username exists, I am passing the control value. This will carry the value entered by the user in the input box, and then this username exists returns observable of string array. We get the observable of string array. Here I am checking the length. If that is empty, then it will return null, and if it has an element, it means greater than 0, then it will return validation errors. The validation errors is like this: key and value. The key is username exists and the value is true. Okay, this was the function. We have created our function. Now let's configure it in our form group. Suppose this is our form group, customer form, and I will apply this async validator to username, and basically username is here form control. We should know that in the form control, first argument is for value, second argument is for sync validators like required, max length, min length, max or min, email, etc. So these are sync validators, and for the async validators we need to pass an array as a third argument. Okay, so this is our configuration of async validators. What I am doing here, that first resolve your service using constructor dependency injection. This is our customer service, and then function that I have created existing username validator. This function I have created it and I am calling it here, and then passing that service. Okay, come to here, existing username validator. Let's go to there. We get the service. Okay, and then by this service I am calling username exists, that available here in the service. Okay, and then this is the value entered by user, and using that value I am checking whether that username exists or not, and on that basis I return validator errors or null. That's okay. In this way we configure it. You can check it again here in the customer form, username here, and in the form control as a third argument pass an array of async validators. If you have more than one, you can use it comma separated. And then let's see how we will configure it in our HTML template. In HTML template, suppose actually I have used two sync validators. This one is validators required and validators max length for 7, and one async validator. Let's see how we will configure in our HTML template. First one is for required, we do as usual. Second one is for max length, username.errors and then max length. And in the same way, there is no difference in calling. You can display message here in the same way as we do for the sync validators, username.errors, and the key is username exists. This key that we have created here, username exists, and then display your message. Okay, in the same way I have created one more async validators. Look at this. This is for mobile num, third argument array of async validators. Here is existing mobile number validator, and here I am passing the customer service. Go to the existing mobile number, function name is existing mobile number, that is returning async validatorFn, and in this I am calling service dot mobile number exists, and this method I have created in the service class mobile number exists. We get the mobile number, and I have created an array for the demo purpose. I have two mobile number that already exists, and here I am returning the true or false boolean value, observable of a boolean type. And if mobile number exists, then we return the observable as true, and if mobile number does not exist, observable as false. Okay, now come to the function here. If allowable, I am returning the validation errors. Key as mob num exists, and if mobile number does not exist, then we return the null. So let's see how we will use it in our HTML template. The key is mob num exists. For the mobile number, one sync validator required and one async validator. So again, as usual, we configure it. This is sync validator required, and this one is the async validator mob num exists. Okay, and this will display the message. In our service, you can check two users I have stored here, and if we enter this user, then we will get the message that username already exists. In the same way, I have stored two mobile numbers, and if we enter these mobile numbers, we will get mobile number already exists message. You can check it. First error is username required, and second, again, this is the sync validator, and one more max length for the 7. I can check it. 7. After 7, max length is 7. Okay. Now let's check if the username already exists. Okay, this username already exists. We got this message as a async, and in the same way, mobile number already exists. We can get this data from our DB, or we can get this data from REST web service as we want. And in this way, when user enters the data, we can post that data to the with REST web service and get the response, and then give the message to the user whether it's already present or not. Okay, in this way, we learned here how to use async validator in our Angular application. Thank you.